I'm calling women out here. I've never done this before, but I'm going to say something negative about women. Where liberal women will settle for and be accepting of conservative men, I don't have any respect for you. If you're an egalitarian-minded individual, if you're a person who values equal rights, if you're a person who has strong principled positions on racial or gender issues, and then you end up settling for and passively, I guess, abetting the political positions of a conservative, I think you're spineless. And I think that you could do better, and I think that there's a lot of dick out there that you could probably find that isn't attached to that. But there is still an association, and I will admit that a lot of women are into a very specific kind of guy that tends to overlap with conservative values, namely a kind of rustic, outdoorsy, wears a baseball cap and wraparound shades while driving their Outback into the forest kind of guy, that aesthetic of guy. There's an association between them and conservatives, not necessarily an intrinsic one, but life is complicated. Now, I have good news for you people. It is true that in doing so, women have been aiding and abetting conservatism for a while. I do genuinely believe, and this might be controversial to a lot of people, but I do genuinely believe that the repulsion that good, principled, left-leaning women feel towards conservative men gets those men to change. Like, seriously. I think that a lot of men are conservative when they're young at the height of their unfuckability. Not just because they're awkward like young people or whatever, but also because their conservatism is tied into feelings of insecurity, a lack of self-worth. It plays on those feelings, and it makes them just generally unpleasant to be around. I can say, for instance, that I was most unpleasant during the brief period of time in high school I felt I was a libertarian, and it's all been uphill from there, you know? Nearly 30 and still growing up every year, happy to say. And it can happen to all of us, so don't lose hope. Of course, I'm still unpleasant, but I've grown up in other ways. Where am I going with this? Well, this pattern, this process that I'm talking about, I don't think it's happening as much anymore. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's a comic that I think really, really cuts to the heart of it. Quoteth, repost that link, will you? Every third hetero couple. Did you check out that Salon article I said, everyone? Next to the most racist man alive, who looks like this, too. That's true. Now, I do blame women for this. Look at her. Look at how cute she is. She could do better. But, you know, what am I gonna... Well, you know, you know what I blame them for? It's sexual submissives. You know, they can't help it. Women, a lot of them, you know, oh, I'm so progressive. I'm a liberal woman. I believe in equality. But I also want a guy who will smack me around in bed. You can find left-leaning guys who will smack you around in bed. I know at least one. It's the bottoms. I'm telling you, it's the bottoms. They ruin everything. They've ruined everything for all time, okay? Hey... listen, okay, how did the Trojans do the thing with the horse? Because, wait, I had a joke in here, hold on. Because the bottoms let the horse in. The bottoms open the city gates and let the horse inside of them, because the bottom would open their hole to the horse, and that's how the city fell. Right, got it, nailed it. That wasn't a bit. I actually had it in my head for 1 second. Okay. What am I getting at here? It's not happening anymore. This is just one article from 2018, but I have noticed a significant shift in terms of the media that I see from young people, where now that people are shifting more towards radical left politics, radical left-leaning people, radical left-leaning women, don't want to fuck conservatives, okay? Think about it. Liberalism emphasizes civility politics, reaching across the aisle, the value of discourse, even through disagreement, shit like that, right? So it makes sense that a liberal would be more willing to enable, abet, or accept conservative relations in their personal life. I'm not being euphemistic here. I actually mean this. Or to put it another way, right? How many liberals have you met in your life who are one of those, well, I disagree with them, but I'd have a beer with them types, right? Now, how many socialists have you met who are like that? Increasing political partisanship is a fact of life. We know for a fact that it's been skyrocketing over time, that more and more people on the left aren't doing this. Well, you know, I have disagreements with them, but blah, blah, blah. And instead are just going, no, fuck them. Why the fuck? Like, it is a lot easier, I think, to imagine a liberal woman who likes Huffington Post getting along with, like, a kind of staunch economic conservative neocon guy than a modern day young college student leftist getting along with like an alt-right kid or like a fucking Trumper. That is a way larger gap. That is a much, much, much larger gap. And because the gap is larger, there is a greater unwillingness to cross that aisle in terms of interpersonal relationships. And what I'm getting at here is that if young men want pussy, they're going to have to stop being so unfuckable. The standards are raising, folks. And listen, normally I'm one to decry the raising of standards. I think there are a lot of ways in which raising standards are hurting, especially men. I think that standards have been high for women in terms of presentation, appearance for a long time. But I feel like with the rise of social media and dating apps, guys have been dealing with a precipitous rise in the shallow bullshit they have to deal with. And I feel bad for them, and I think it's fucked up. Hey, I'm not defending that. But if there is an environment where I'm okay with standards rising and unfuckability being punished, it is in being a fascist. I'm okay with that, actually, all right? Listen, there aren't that many young high school boys who are like neocons who worship fucking Kissinger or what. No. Young people who get into politics these days, at least a significant portion of them, are radicals, which means they're either going down the socialist or fascist pipelines. Not all of them, but a lot of them, at least the politically minded individuals. And I think that, you know, frankly, I just don't think you should ever get pussy if you're a fascist. That's just a strong political... I don't. Or ass. No anal loophole. I just don't think you should. Now, this seems like I'm being vindictive, but in reality, what I'm talking about here is it's a kind of social ostracization that is good. It's morally right. I think it's good to socially ostracize fascists. I'm sorry, I just do. If they stop being fascists, then they can stop being socially ostracized. I'm sticking by this belief. And let's be real here. Considering these two facts, one, women on average are more left-leaning than men, and two, a lot of men are willing to do some pretty heinous shit to their personality in order to get pussy, I think that we're seeing an increase in an effective strategy of social isolation and ostracization that work against fascists, which is them being treated as unfuckable losers. Again, they could overcome this by not being fascists. I am aware of the fact that a lot of young men who are fascist-leaning will only fall further down the rabbit hole if they continue to experience this loneliness and ennui and ostracization. But let's be real here, okay? Fuck you! We're not talking about you being lonely because you're awkward or because you have a couple of bad beliefs or because you can't dress great or because you're poor or because you live in a city. Those are all valid things to... You're a fascist! Fuck off! You don't have to be... I'm sorry. It's like, we're being socially ostracized because we keep shitting ourselves. Sure, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. You know, it's like... I think that's fine. If the social ostracization issue exclusively affected fascist men, then I would be fine with it. And women, let's be fair, even though that's less of an issue. Obviously, that's not the case. There are plenty of young men who are lonely and aren't fascists. In fact, I want to be clear here. I do not want people to make the logical leap where they see a guy who's lonely or kind of like misery posting or an incel or whatever and think, oh, it's because they're a fascist. That's not true. That's some bullshit people say online to sort of like soothe themselves with like the myth of meritocracy. It's the same shit liberals and conservatives do, you know? No. There's no unfairness in the dating marketplace. Oh no, the reason why they're so lonely and are gonna die alone and are suicidally ideative and stuff, it must be because they're the problem. Like, that's some bullshit. Let's not pretend things are fair out there. But in the instances where the harm is being caused by people not caring about you because you're fascist, fuck off and good.